Okay, so good day, everyone. Welcome to the real-time analytics with Microsoft Fabric and Microsoft Fabric and Power Automate session today. So good day, everyone. Nice to meet us in today's session. So today we are going to be touching on a interesting use case scenario of trying to do real-time intelligence with Microsoft Fabric and the Power Platform. But before we get started with that, I want to kind of see if we properly understand what Microsoft Fabric is and what the Power Platform is. Now, I would like to do a bit of introduction on myself. I'm Joseph Fadura. Some of us already know me. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, Power Platform certified, as well as Power Platform Superuser, Fabric Analytic Engineer, and currently I work the the team of Jada. That's a tech company per se. Also do some voluntary work with Data Click, Analytics Extra, and currently running CDHQ, Citizen Developer HQ, with my amazing co-founder, which is Sarah Melbourne, which she's not on the call today, but hopefully we get to see her in other subsequent videos as well. So without wasting much of our time, I'm just going to be starting briefly with what do we understand as Power Platform and what do you understand as Microsoft Fabric? Because I think that foundation will largely help going into the demo we have to do today. Also, after the demo today, I will try to document the process on GitHub. So if you have the necessary requirement, you can probably carry out the same process we did today. So just a quick room check to check what we know and to check what we don't know. I'd like to ask us on the call, how many of us is this our first time of hearing Microsoft Fabric or hearing Power Platform? And what do we think the two are? What the difference or similarities between the two? So anybody on the
Hi,
call? Yeah.
hi. Good morning. Are we supposed to answer like the differences between Power Platform and Microsoft Fabric, or whether we have used them before?
So either way is fine. If you've used them before, you can tell us about it or what you know about Microsoft Fabric and or the Power Platform. Yeah.
Oh, basically, I have heard of Power Platform, right? And I've also heard of Microsoft Fabric. I think it's for Fabric. It's a new analytical platform that was created to replace or integrate Power BI into itself. So technically, they are trying to phase out Power BI service and just have everything within the Microsoft Fabric environment. That's what I know to the best of my knowledge. Then for the Power Platform, I think Power Platform incorporates Power Apps, Automates, and all of those other tools or Microsoft tools that are used for also data analytics kind of tasks. I'm not really sure.
Okay. Okay. That's a nice try. So thanks for that. Have you used any before, or what do you currently use? Just to
I currently use Power BI a lot. I recently got certified as a Power BI data analyst associate. So I use Power BI quite a lot. So and also Power BI service too. So I'm also
okay.
looking
That's
to learn Microsoft Fabric as well.
okay. That's nice. Candy, I can see somebody else hand this up.
Yeah, hello Joseph. Good morning and good morning all.
Mhm, good morning.
Um, okay. So, Microsoft Fabric is like a one-stop platform for analytics solutions. In other words, you through Microsoft Fabrics, you can perform tasks that has to do with data science, data engineering, and data analytics. That is for Microsoft Fabric. Then for Power Platform, especially Power Automate is used to automate business processes, especially repetitive business processes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for that, Elvis. Do anybody want to give a final try before I go ahead? Any other person from the audience? So any other person, any other idea on what Microsoft
Good morning.
Fabric? Okay, good morning.
Okay. For my own idea, let me start with Microsoft Fabric. For my own understanding, Microsoft Fabric deals with, I think, with data generally. For example, data engineering, data science, and Power BI data analysis. So it is an end-to-end solution for a data analyst and a data science. But Power Platform is just for a business solution. So business use Power Platform for their organization, make things run. For example, for Power App to create different apps within the organization, Power Pages, Power Automate, and Power BI. So I think the similarity between them is the Power BI because both of them has Power BI as their tools. So that's my own understanding.
Hmm. That's really interesting. Think I like that to a large extent. So to be honest, everybody who has spoken had said something similar about it. So right now I want to also know beyond. I think the first person said he used Power BI on the he used Power BI, right? If I'm not mistaken. Say you use Power BI. So I want to know what do you currently do and what, if you can, like what do you currently do and what tools make your life easier in general, and what do you want to do on the code? So very quickly, can we just provide that to what you currently do and why you kind of want to learn this Power Platform, Microsoft Fabric as well? It doesn't matter if it's related or if it's not related, so you can just feel free to share.
Okay, currently, I volunteer for a startup, a healthcare startup. That's what I currently do. And using Microsoft Power BI was kind of an upscaling journey for me because I got interested into the world, the whole Power Platform world, and its flexibility. And given that Microsoft Fabric is like on the cutting edge of the Power BI ecosystem, I was like, okay, it's like the next thing to try to learn better ways of creating business solutions. The Power Automate, the Power Platform ecosystem, so also comes in as well for me because I really haven't made so much research into what it does, but I know people that use it and I know what they use it to do. So it's also something of it's basically interest that's making me want to learn more about it for now.
Okay, okay. I like that. I like that answer and I like that approach. So before I go ahead to tell you to share my own two cents on what Power Platform is, Microsoft Fabric is. So I would like to know, do we have any other person that would like to share as well? Any other person, just quickly before.
Okay. For me, I'm a data analyst, and I've been using Power BI for a while. So I'm currently used to Power BI. And in my place of work, we normally use Microsoft 365, which comes with all the Power Platform um, components, Power Apps, all those things. So I've tried to upgrade myself to understand what the Power Platform, what it does, and all those things. So, and normally I've tried a lot of things about Power Automate as well. To use Power Automate to send a mail every morning, and to do some repetitive tasks like sending of mail, meeting memo, all those things. So I have the knowledge of that. So, but to combine the two with Microsoft Fabrics or with Power BI is my goal for this meeting. So how can I combine the two instead of sharing, updating reports by myself all the time? How can I do a Power Automate to do all those things? So
Okay. Okay. That's very much is valid, and that's like some of the things we'll be covering today. Okay. So I'll show us how we can do some of those things which you mentioned you want to learn today. So without wasting much of our time, let me go right into today's session to what we have to do. So first of all, in regards to Power Platform, Microsoft Fabric, I think some of us already did justice to the explanation. But what I would like to show is when we are thinking of Fabric, I think it was Delvis that kind of mentioned that it allows your data analysts, your data engineer, data scientists to work together in a unified ecosystem, in a single place. Now, so I don't want to go with the assumption that all of us know who a data analyst is, or all of us, we are data analysts, we are data engineers, we are data scientists, we are analytics engineer. So I'll just like to explain what each of these people do in the general sense of things, because my current role involves me kind of touching each and every part of this life cycle. So what do a data engineer do? Now, in the typical data team, your data engineers are who are largely involved in preparing your data, like preparing your data, doing your data modeling as well, preparing your data for easy analysis and easy, maybe whatever, if you need the data for ML, you need the data for data analysis as well. ML, I'm talking of machine learning as well, and all. The data engineers help build something called pipelines. Pipelines are like your process. They are processes which enables your data to move from the source. Maybe your data is in a website, is in whatever place it is, to a final destination. Your data analyst takes the data which largely provided by the data engineer or the data team, and the data analysts analyze the data, do some descriptive analysis, exploratory analysis based on the data to check, like, oh, why is our revenue increasing? What are things that led to revenue increase? How much revenue do we have? And things like that. So your data analyst takes the data and tries to either query the data, visualize the data with either using maybe Power BI, using your SQL, your Excel, your typical things like that. Then the data scientist does more of the predictive analytics of the data. So your data scientist tries to check, oh, can we predict why we are losing customers? Can we predict why our revenue will go down? Can we predict what our revenue will be going forward? What campaign should we do to help improve our revenue performance? Then there's a role which is a lot common nowadays, which is called the analytics engineer. In Fabric's own space, they call it the Fabrics analytics engineer. So what the analytics engineer job is kind of like a hybrid between the data analyst and data engineer, in the sense of you will largely be involved in preparing the data as well, and you may be involved in some analysis, like some small scale analysis based on your data. It goes beyond that, but that's just like a summary overview of what each of these roles are. So typically, in the typical setting, in the typical business or working setting, these people are normally employed differently and they use different tool stack. If I ask you what a data analyst use, for example, I'm sure most of us will mention maybe Excel, maybe Power BI, maybe SQL. If I ask what a data engineer use, some of us will mention maybe Kafka, Python, Airflow as data factory, and the list can go on. If you ask what data scientists use, you may mention Python, but even in the Python, what libraries do they use? sklearn. There are a whole lot of things that these people use, and because they each use different tools, different capability. It requires either knowledge of each of those different tools, and it requires cost of using each of those different tools. It requires them to be able to maybe pay for this tool, yeah, you pay for that tool in this other place. And in that instance, data is also very siloed in the sense of data do not effectively or easily speak to one another. It's a situation of, oh, the data analyst cannot just easily maybe connect to the warehouse or the lake house that the data engineer had built at the end of the day. So it will involve use of a lot of integration, maybe some codes to try to make each of these members speak to one another. So that's what Microsoft Fabric kind of came to solve. Now, before Microsoft Fabric came, um, Microsoft had a tool called Synapse. And Synapse is what like Microsoft kind of built Fabric of. Synapse was kind of like supposed to be the end-to-end data process. But Microsoft considered things, and they've found a way to kind of put the capabilities in Synapse, put the capabilities in other Microsoft products to kind of deliver an end-to-end product at the end of the day, which is like Microsoft Fabric. So they mixed in some component from Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse, Azure Databricks. They kind of mixed it together to generate what Fabric is, and Power BI too is into it. So Fabric is beyond just like taking over what Power BI was, but they built Fabric in the Power BI service interface. So that's just like an overview for those who may not be aware of what Microsoft Fabric is all about. Now, in regards to Power Automate, now Power Automate, you have kind of tools and experiences. You have different sort of developers for Power Automate. Traditionally, and if you check through history, what the very first Power Platform tool was Power BI. Power BI was actually like the first Power Platform tool, and Power BI ideally is kind of like what is even joining. Power BI largely joins these two tools together. But not just Power BI. Now they've worked on a way that other tools are easily integrated to one another. So like Power Automate, you can build flows that connect to Microsoft Fabric. You can build a Copilot Studio, which is a chatbot. I'll talk about that as well, that connects to Microsoft Fabric easily. So Power Platform is just to be sure, can we still hear me clearly? Hope you can still hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So when we are talking of Power Platform, we are considering these four tools in mind. Power BI is still technically part of Power Platform, but I removed it out of this slide to avoid one confusion as well, and two, in a way, they are kind of leaning Power BI now more towards Fabric than Power Platform, but it's still Power Platform. So what is the Power Platform? Power Platform is like an ecosystem of low code tools. Low code tools in the sense of these are businesses that require little to no code. These are tools that require little to no code to solve a particular business problem. Though this is still it's still subjective to some extent that if you actually want to build like some certain solutions, like maybe a complex power apps, you may involve you writing a slightly a bit more codes than low codes. So what are each of these tools? You have Power Apps. Power Apps is for business creating business applications. So if you want to create like maybe a registration app for your business, a booking app for your business, a leave a leave app for your business, you can build something without having to go and learn maybe web development or so. You can build a Power Apps to kind of help do that. But the apps are business centric, so they have to have like a business goal in mind. They are not in the sense of building like a game application or something like that. So there are apps tailored towards building business logic. So you have Power Apps for that. The Power Automate. What Power Automate is a tool which me I personally very much like that helps you to automate a lot of your repetitive process. So imagine if you are the type of person, and I know somebody mentioned it, that maybe your day-to-day task is maybe sending emails or maybe copying and pasting a document or maybe moving things from one place to another. One thing me in particular I don't like is doing the same task over and over and over again. So if you are most likely doing the same repetitive tasks over and over again, that is normally a call for can this be automated? And if it can be automated, Power Automate can largely help you to automate it. In Power Automate, when we go on further into this session, we're talking about the type of automations you can do with Power Automate as well. But Power Automate can help you automate repetitive process as well. Now you have Copilot Studio. Now Copilot Studio, it was originally called something called Power Virtual Agents. What Copilot Studio is it allows you to build what we call AI agents. It allows you to build like your own chatbot or your own copilot, as they will call it, to solve your particular problem. So imagine you building your own ChatGPT, and the process for building this is very, very easy. You wouldn't have to write complex codes to do anything. No, it's a drag and drop interface. You have your data, you want to build your copilot. That process can easily be created. Now you have something called Power Pages. Power Pages is for building business web applications. So it's like if you want to build like a business website or so, based on so you can use something like Power Pages to do something like that. So it's like it was originally called Power Apps Portal because it was based off Power Apps had the part where you can build phone and desktop app and you can build like a website app, and that's what Power Pages has come to do as well. Now, under Microsoft Fabric, there are different components of Fabric, but each of the components of Fabric is split into experiences, which we have here. So you have data analysts have certain tools they work with, which is largely what Power BI service was for the data analyst experience. Data engineering has different tools they work with. Data science has different tools they work with. Um, Analytics engineers also have different tools they work with as well. So before I get right into showing us the tools, so far, are we clear with my explanation on the difference between the two? And is there anyone that maybe you're just finding out now and you're excited to learn?
Really, the whole of Power Platform is exciting because I was going to mention I've been taking some courses on N8N. I don't know what I know of N8N. It's also a no code, low code tool used for building workflows, like automating workflows that help you, let's say, automate away repetitive tasks, just like what you said Power Automate does. So, I mean, it's something that I'm really excited to learn in the Microsoft, using Microsoft tools.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. So also, I just wanted to add. So I don't know if you saw in the initial post that I made. So there's also like a volunteer form. So one thing is, yes, we're largely right now for the series of this video, we're largely focused on Power Platform, Microsoft Fabric, but we are in Citizen Developer HQ, we are more tailored towards low code and skills as well. So if you believe there's something you'd like to share as well, maybe a session or a video, and we want us to maybe help upload it on our channel as well, you can just fill that form and reach out to me. I would love to learn about that and Emit and that you mentioned as well. So thanks for that. So I think is there any other person that has something else they would like to share in regards to this? Anything you're interested in learning or doing after my brief explanation?
Okay. For me, have tried to do some things about the Power Platform, and the Power Automate is a very cool tool actually, though my knowledge on it is not that wide. All I can use it to do is to send a mail. Yeah. And currently I'm learning how to use the Copilot Studio, and it is very interesting one, and it's a very good thing to learn. Though I'm still having difficulties in one or two ways, and I think in this class I'll be able to get a little bit of everything. And I think you've explained most of it at the beginning about the Copilot Studio and all those things. So it's a nice thing.
Okay, thank you very much. So without wasting much of our time, because I know we have like a busy schedule as well, and I want us to also finish within the time. So first of all, I'm going to show us Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric. So this is going to be a series of video. So I will also implore us to right now. Thank you everyone for joining. Also, if you can next time invite somebody as well to join as well in this session. So it's going to be a series of video using use case scenarios on Microsoft Fabric and Power Automate. I'll see how much we can do today, but there will be another video. If you want monthly, if you want 2 weeks, you can just let me know which one is convenient on the WhatsApp channel. If you want, oh, maybe we should meet monthly, we should meet 2 weeks. That would be fine by me. But one thing is I want people to be largely engaged in the session. So first of all, if you've not signed into Microsoft Fabric before, you can just go to Microsoft Fabric on your Google. Let me open this in an incognito tab so that we get to see how it should be from your end. So Microsoft Fabric. So the first thing if you want to go to Microsoft Fabric, you can just set Microsoft Fabric. If you have a current Power BI account, it's a lot easier to navigate to Microsoft Fabric. But for those, you can just Google Microsoft Fabric. If you click on this, now you'll be able to see the whole Fabric interface and instances where you see what Fabric can do. You can scroll down. There's also demos for you to watch, capabilities, featured news, and various things in regards to Excel Fabric. So I think so if you scroll down, you can read through what Microsoft Fabric is. One thing I'll largely encourage you to do is click on community stories to see what other people are doing with with the platform Microsoft Fabric, and you can click on, if you want to learn, you can click on Get Started. There's also a free learning module on Microsoft Fabric as well, on Microsoft Fabrics. So, so one thing, sorry, just one moment. Okay, so back to this. So one thing for you, if you are just learning, if you don't have an account already, you can just click on Try for free. Now, on the incognito tab, I'm doing this on an incognito tab, so we see what it asks for. When you click on Try for free, it will ask you to provide an email account to check what you, if you'll be able to learn this. Now, for this, before, the process which I largely recommended for people is creating something called a developer account. But now, unfortunately, the developer account isn't as accessible as before, because now you need to have certain credentials for you to set up a developer account. But one thing I would say is you can sign up for a free M365 work or school account. If you are a student, if you have a student account, you can use it to sign up here. But what I would say is, if you come to a browser, you can search for Microsoft 365 E5. So I will advise the E5 trial account. So the reason why we advise this is because the E5 account comes with all services in terms of Microsoft 365 Power BI and the rest of them. So you have all of it. Now the trial is for a limited period of time, but if you are serious, if you are really ready to learn, we can work within that period of time. I think they extend the trial for, I think, maybe 60 days or more, and you can always request for a trial at different points. So if you click on try for free, it's going to open this tab on how you can set up a account for free so that you can try and learn. But if you already have a business, a work or a school account, which is a account that has like a proper business account, you can just, under this sign in or sign up, you just need to place that email address that has the organization address. And if you click on submit, if you don't already have a Microsoft Fabric account, it will ask you to create one. If you do, it will just sign you in to the account as well. So one thing I'm also going to do is I'm going to check if I could set for the people in the community, if I can probably set some trial account. Now that's what I'm going to see if I can do for some of you people, and I don't mind if there's anybody that is willing to test it out with me, maybe some other time, so we can see if you can set that up as well. But if you already have a pre-existing account, you're good to go. Go, and everything will be a lot easier. Now, so back to Microsoft Fabric. So this is the Microsoft Fabric interface for those who may not be aware. Now, for those who, if you've been using Power BI for years, this interface looks a lot familiar. Let me switch it to Power BI, for example. This interface looks a lot easier. Okay, I can see Pascal, your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to clarify because I'm currently on the Power BI service free trial. I have a couple of days to go. If I have this access, will I be able to follow along and do most of what you are doing on here?
Yes.
Okay,
So if you have the
great.
Power BI access, if you already have access to Power BI, if you even have access to Power Automate as well, you most likely be able to, or Power Platform as well, you most likely be able to access what I have right now. So yeah, so what I'll just do is I'm just going to be I'll show you how you can, from your end, what you need to do. So if you have access to Power BI service, so this Power BI service right there, experience Power BI. Now, how you get to that is once you filled in all your details and all, you get navigated to a page like this. Now, for you that you probably do not have Fabric enabled, you can click on your profile. Under your profile, it will show you a license type. Now, that's why I want, if we can try to see if we can sign up for a E5 M365 account because it comes with Power BI Pro license. So under this, you get a license type for your account, you get your tenant name, then you have a trial status. What the trial status is for you wouldn't have a trial status. You see, try Microsoft Fabric for free. So you can click on the trial for free on your account. And once you click on that trial for free, it starts the Microsoft Fabric trial for you. And the trial says 60 days, but right now Microsoft has been lenient enough, and that's why it's the best time to learn Fabric right now, in the sense of Microsoft has been renewing that trial for over a year plus. That's 60 days trial. We don't know how long they will do that, but Microsoft has been renewing that trial. All you just have to do is be active on Microsoft Fabric and request for extension. So the moment you've done that, the moment you've activated a Fabric trial account, what you will need to do is to create something called a Fabric workspace. A Fabric workspace. Now, the first question is, what is a workspace? What is a workspace? How many people on this call know what a workspace is? Like, you're aware of what a workspace is? Hello? Just
Hello.
yeah, so are you
Yeah,
aware of,
we can hear you.
yeah, so I said, are you aware of what a workspace is before I go on, so I don't just assume you know what a workspace is?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so a workspace is basically like a container that houses all your various items in, let's say, for Power BI, if you are a traditional Power BI, if you came from a Power BI background, when you publish reports or when you use Power BI service by default, anything when you publish, be it a report, a dashboard, a data set, your data set goes to something called a workspace. What your workspace does is it houses all those things in that particular environment. So just see it like an environment that houses all the things you are going to be using as well. So by for Microsoft Fabric, for you to use Microsoft Fabric effectively, you can switch from the Power BI experience to Microsoft Fabric experience. And once you're in Microsoft Fabric experience, you can now create something called a new workspace. Why are you creating a workspace? Because for Microsoft Fabric workspace, it's slightly different from your typical Power BI workspace in the sense of Microsoft Fabric workspace, you can add additional items to your Microsoft Fabric workspace. You can add either your data warehouse, your data lake, your machine learning, or whatever it is to your Microsoft Fabric workspace. That's what you can add. Now, for you to get started, you can create a new workspace by clicking on workspace, clicking on new workspace. I already have one, but I'll just show us how we can go ahead. I'll give this workspace a name, maybe real time analytics. Then under this advanced, this part is very, very important. The moment you've activated your trial, under this advanced, you scroll down, you see something called trial. So check this trial. That's why it's important when you're done with it. When you're done with your activating your account to sign up for a Fabric trial, you select this trial. The moment you select this trial, you can scroll down and you can you can select apply. You can also select the capacity, which is the region you're on, but I think the default one is selecting will be good for you. The moment you do that, you can click on apply to create your workspace. So once you've created your workspace, you will have something like this, which is the Microsoft Fabric workspace. And inside this workspace, you have something called items. Items. So if I click on this new item, for example, right, you can see the various things which I can create in my Fabric workspace. So if I want to create, so this thing, how they arranged it before, I kind of liked it, but right now they've kind of changed the arrangement a bit. But just to explain what each and every one of these things is if you want to get data, if you want to do a bit of data engineering, or if you want to do data engineering typically, there are certain items or activities that you can do to carry out this process. And under this, you have get data. So if you want to get data from a particular source, you have something called copy job, data pipeline, data flow gen 2, event stream, mirrored Azure Cosmos DB, mirrored Azure database for Postgres, Azure Databricks, Azure database, Azure SQL managed instance database. So these are some of the options you have for this notebook and Spark definition job. Now, if you want to store data in a particular location, you have various places you can store data. Is it a data mart? Is it an event house? Is it a lake house, warehouse, or any of these options? What these are just various storage container you have. I think in subsequent session, if we want, I can explain some of these items to us. Today we'll focus more on event stream, but I'll just want to show us what each of them do. If you want to run Airflow job, you can do it here. If you want to do data factory, you can do it here, copy job, and the following. So you have a lot of these activities for you to explore in Microsoft Fabric. And creating them is quite easy. If you want to even learn on Microsoft Fabric, there's a way you can access the learn documentation. So if I'm on the home tab on Microsoft Fabric, I can click on learn more about Fabric. So I can check if I want to learn about any of these concepts I mentioned, you will see documentation on learning about those concepts. Now, what do we want to do at the end of the day? What do we want to do today? We want to do something called real-time analytics. Now, when we talk of real-time analytics, there are two types of ways data enter a system. Now, for those of us who are not just two type of ways, but we typically consider like two ways data enter into systems. Now, from those of us coming from a data background, I'm sure we must have heard of something called batch and streaming data before. Batch and streaming data before. Have we heard of that, or is this our first time coming in contact with that concept?
My first time coming across it, actually.
This is my first
Okay.
time.
Okay, so I'll just show this. Now, I said this will be polished a bit more before I send it to you guys as well. But so when we are talking of real-time analytics, we're talking of instance analysis, rapid decision making, and key applications. So if you want to capture, analyze, and act on data immediately as it arrives, you are thinking of real time. So let's take for example, when you want to, maybe you send a form out for people to fill and you want to immediately like see the result or even do immediate calculation on the result. You're thinking of something that will show in real time as people are filling the form. They are seeing, your manager is seeing the dashboard updated. Maybe 3 people answer a quiz. Maybe 3 people answer a simple quiz and all. Your manager wants to see the result of that quiz, maybe based on certain metrics that they've set on. You are thinking of real-time process. So what's the benefit of it? It enables rapid decision making, and some key application of real-time is fraud detection. If you want to detect fraud as it's happening right now, maybe somebody made a payment, you want to detect if the payment is fraudulent or not. That's a typical application of real-time analysis. If you want to monitor IoT device, let's say your health care device, as your patient reading is going in, you are doing the analysis, you are thinking of real-time. If you want to do stock market analysis, that's an example of real-time analysis. So what's real time and what's batch? What's like the key difference between real time and batch process? So when we are talking of the two, we are thinking of something called features. We are thinking of data arrival, latency, and use case scenario. So when you're talking of batch processing, you're collecting data and processing the data later. That means you are storing the information to analyze the information later. So your normal reports that you do typically in Power BI or in Power BI on a day-to-day basis, maybe your manager says, oh, want to see our revenue for the month. You are storing the revenue data on a month-to-month basis, maybe in whatever database you have or a spreadsheet you have, and you want to do the analysis based on the month data. But if your manager says, want to see our revenue by the seconds, though it's not too practical, but their use case now, we want to see the our revenue by the seconds or by the minutes. In that case scenario, they want as the data, maybe as you are updating the spreadsheet, your manager wants to be seeing the live updates to the data. So if you see there's something called latency. Latency is just like the degree from when data is passed to when output is processed. So a low latency is normally good in the sense of like when immediately data is passed, information is processed like immediately. So the lower the latency, the better it is for it. Now, when we are thinking of use case scenario for real time and batch, you're thinking of reporting, you're thinking of ETL for batch processing, you're thinking of data warehouse for batch processing. But real time, you're thinking of IoT, live dashboard, fraud detection as well. So some key components of real time analytics in Microsoft Fabric, which we are going to be talking about. You have Event Hub. This is ingesting streaming data at scale. We have Event Stream, routes and transform data, KQL database, store and analyze data, and alert. This is monitors and notifies people based on information of data. So what is Event Hub? It's a scalable streaming service, a highly scalable data platform as well. Data is integrated from different sources for Event Hub, and you have technical features. It supports use of Kafka and some other live data stream as well. That's what Event Hub helps to do. Like I said, I'll share this when it's a little slightly more published as well. So what's an event stream? Event stream, in the case of event stream, you are connecting your data to maybe a live API, a live events hub. That's it's something that provides live information. I don't know how many of us have done the COVID-19 analysis, but if you are connecting to the COVID-19 data and you want each time maybe a new patient comes up with COVID-19 is updated, you want it to be updated, you use the event stream. Now you can transform data in your event stream, you can visualize data in your event stream, and you can route data, that's direct data to KQL database and Power BI for your event stream. So this is like your destination at the end of the day. This is like your source at the end of the day. Now, what's KQL database as well? Now, KQL is Crystal Query language. It's very, very much similar to SQL. So you don't have to really start cracking your head on learning what KQL is, but it's like tailored more towards streaming data sets and for fast analytics as well. So that's what the KQL database is largely tailored towards. So alerts. So maybe based on when your real-time data is up to date or when the data is passed in, you want maybe an email to be sent, you want maybe a dashboard to be updated or something like that. You can create alerts based on your real-time data in Microsoft Fabric. So how do data pass in a real-time process in Microsoft Fabric? So typically you have your source of your events, that's your event hub. You have event stream, that's the process in which your data is going to pass. Your data is most likely stored in a database. It can be stored in a lakehouse too, but typically KQL database is suited for real-time analysis, and your data is now visualized with Power BI, and you are setting alerts from your data. So so far, are we all getting the concept which I've explained so far? Before we go right into hands-on, is it clear? Is it clear so far? Or do you want me to touch on anything else before we go right into creating? Or want to?
Could you just reiterate your explanation on Event Hub?
Okay. Okay. So, Event Hub. Uh, so sorry. Just give me 1 minute. I'm coming. I want to quickly adjust something. Just 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. So your question was again. Sorry, I should explain about Event Hub, right?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. 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 So for Event Hub, right? What your Event Hub is now, it's important. I'll show us in Fabric. It's important that we note that Event Hub is you have Azure Event Hub. It's like is a streaming platform in Azure that kind of hosts your streaming data. That's what like Event Hub is for, to host your streaming data for Azure. Now there are other tools that are for streaming data, like you have Kafka. Kafka is, I don't know if you are into data engineering or you've heard data engineers talk before. You have Kafka for streaming data. Event Hub is like Microsoft own center towards streaming data. It's like it helps you to the platform to help you to like store those streaming data coming in as well. So that's what your Event Hub is for. Is for generally. So let me go back to slide. Like I said, this will be polished a bit more. So it's a highly scalable data streaming platform in Azure. Ingest real-time data from IoT data, device application, and logs with latency. So you can even consider it like, oh, if you want to like a Power Query per se, but not a Power Query, but like for streaming data. So it's going to help you like bring in streaming data from a whatever streaming site you are considering. Maybe IoT means Internet of Things for those who may not be aware. So when you are talking of Internet of Things, you mean like your sensory device, maybe I don't know how many of us have done BP. Your BP device, you can check your BP, all those type of things. They're like typically your IoT device. So Event Hub helps you to get data from them as well. I hope that clarifies things.
Yes, that does. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, so for this process, now the first thing we need to create is we need to create an event stream. So event stream is going to help us map our process, which is our process is coming from, our data is coming from a source. Let me go back to the slide so we can see. You are connecting your data that's to a source. The source is your event hub or your IoT hub. Your data is going, if you need to do transformation, you can do it within the event hub, event stream, and your data is going to go into maybe a KQL database, or you can visualize your data in Power BI from the KQL database. So the first thing we're going to create is an event stream. So I'm going to click on new item, and I'm going to create, under this body, I can search for event stream. I'm going to click on event stream. Now it will ask me for a name, what name I want to give my event. I'll call it new event flow. So I'll just call it like this. Now, once you've created your event stream, it's going to load. Now, it's asking you to provide a source. Where is your data coming from? Now, there are various sources that you want. If you are just starting, you can use this sample application. That's, you can use a sample process. For example, if I click on use sample data, I can search for, I can just give this source a name. Maybe I'll call it bicycle event stream. You can't do that. So just event stream, something like this, right? Under sample data, Microsoft Fabric has already kept some sample data for people to play around with, to learn events, to learn how to work with event stream. So if I use bicycle, for example, I can just click on bicycle and click on add. And the moment I do this, you can see my data is coming from this bicycle event stream. It's just like a demo. Bicycle event stream, it shows you the range in which your data was last updated, the time period. I think this is correct. The time period for the event stream. If I click on this, I can see the test results. I can auto for errors. If you have errors, it will show there as well. And this is showing the data based on the last hour. I can refresh this if there's any change in the data, and the timing as well will change based on whatever refresh I've done here in the data. So there's no change in the data so far as well. So if I come to this transform event and destination, if I want to do simple transformation based on my data, I can click on any of these transformation process which I have here. If I want to aggregate, if I want to join data, I want to group by data, I want to expand union, I can do it all in this process. But if I want to load my data maybe to a lake house, a event house, a whatever, any of these sources I have here, I can just click on, maybe I want to load my data at the end of the day to an event house. And all I'll just need to do is click on the name, the destination where I want to load my event to, click on the workspace that my event, I want to store it, and click on the KQL database that I want to use, for example. And with that, I should be able to load the data into that database, and I can create reports based on the data. Based on the data. So this is just one. This is just like a sample using the sample data. But if I don't want to use the sample data, which is not what I want us to use, I want us to use a custom endpoint, because this allows us to combine Power Automate, maybe even Power Apps or so, Power Automate with our data, with our event hub process. So what this whole process is just telling you, the data is coming from a source. Is this is like showing you like the connection, and it's going into a particular destination that you want your data. So if I want to use an external source, I don't want to use this sample data, I can click on add source, click on external source, and under this external source, I can see the various external sources I can bring in as at now. So if my data is in One Lake event, I can connect. If it's in Azure IoT, I can connect. If it's in Azure Event Hubs, I can connect as well. If my data is not in any of this following, I can bring in a custom endpoint. So I can click on add source custom endpoint. And for this custom endpoint, all I'll just need to do is give it a name. Let me call it Power. Hope I'm not going too fast. Well, I don't know if we are carrying this out, but I said the recording will be shared as well. So, but hope you're understanding the process, and hope I've not confused anybody. Just a room check.
Go ahead. This the recording will be shared. So when the recording is shared, we can take our time to practice.
Okay.
Before now, I'm following.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. Okay, so and also because we're on the group, if you have any questions as well, feel free to tag me to those questions if you carry out the process. So I'm just going to call this a name. I'll call it PA Power Automate app or something. So I'll call this, and I'm going to add it. I'm going to add the source to the event hub. I'm going to add the source to the event hub. I'm going to add the source to the event hub at the end of the day. So the moment I do this, it must like my network. Yeah, so the moment I do this, see, right now I can decide to delete this one. I don't need this bicycle. I just had it there before to show us. Right, so the moment I've done this, I know I can delete this. I don't need this. What you will need to do, moment you've added a new source, what you need to do is you need to edit or publish that source. So I'm going to publish that source, so I can now add further transformation into the source. Now, so if it's
I have a question. Sorry, I have a question.
okay, go ahead.
So I noticed that when you added this Power Automate app endpoint, you deleted the original event source. See that it duplicated the information in the previous one into this one, and that's why it became redundant. Or did I miss something?
No. So the previous one was just a source. So I just removed the source. So if you remember, when I started the whole process, I was one that selected the sample source. So how the flow goes is we go from the sample to the event stream, then go to the final destination. But if I don't need that sample data again, I didn't need to show it. I was just showing it to us so that we can see if we want to learn, we can use the sample data without any issue. But if I don't need the sample data again, what I will do is I'll just select this core. I'll just add a new source. I can delete the previous source. But how it was showing before, if I wanted the previous source, you can add like 2 or 3 sources that connect together. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So if you have a data coming from maybe your SharePoint coming from Google or something, and you want them to link at the end of the day to an event stream before it goes to a database, you can do that in the process. But that's a too complicated example. What I just did was I added a new source, deleted the previous one, and just linked it together. Is that clear, or you're still struggling with
No,
what I
I'm
said?
clear now. I'm clear now.
Okay. Okay. So right now I've added a Power Automate app. Now for me to use this custom app, so if I go to something called, so right now I can see the name of the app, the custom endpoint, it is active. If I go to enter ID, for example, and I go to SAS key, is this SAS key which I largely need to connect this data from this app from Power to load the streaming data into my events hub in my event house, which is my KQL database or my Power BI dashboard at the end of the day. So what I'm going to do is I am going to open Power Automate for us. I'm just going to open Microsoft Power Automate for us. So inside Power Automate, I'm going to
Hi,
type
Joseph. Good morning.
good morning.
Yeah, this is Ife. My first question is going to be, is this, what I call it, training for someone with a very basic knowledge, or is for maybe people that already know about the Microsoft fabrics? Because the rate at which you are going, I'm not able to
Yeah,
pick
so okay. Yeah, thank you
especially
very much.
your last two actions. You brought in a data, well, the sample data, bicycle stuff, and then you went ahead to delete it and brought in something else, and no data was, we're not able to preview any data. It's very, very confusing.
Okay. Okay. And thanks for the feedback. So yeah, thanks for the feedback. So the class was this real time was kind of tailored towards and what I've two people, that's like the beginners and also the intermediates, because I know some people on this call may or may not have experience with Microsoft Fabric. And like I said, the whole process is recorded. And that's why we're creating a series in which some of these things which I briefly explained about, because I was trying to see the room as well, I want to talk about each of them. So maybe the next couple of videos we are going to have is even what is the lakehouse, what is Microsoft, how you can add Microsoft Fabric, how you can do this, how you can do that. But so in regards to the whole process, right? I try to explain some of the things you need to know to carry this process down. But like I said, I'll send some materials and all supporting materials and all to make sure we're able to follow along with the video. But right now, I want to know, is there anything you want me to go over or you want me to properly explain before I proceed?
I'll just wait for
No,
the
no,
for,
no. You can just let me know what part in particular were you were you
because,
struggling.
from this particular place where
Okay.
you deleted the other one, and if you click on the new event flow, it's showing that there's no data. So my
Yeah.
question was with what I think Pascal was asking: is it that
Okay.
it became redundant because it was duplicated, or you want to start a new process afresh. And
So thank you very much for that question, and it's even clarify. It's even helped me to.
sorry, if you're supposed to start a new process, are we starting a new process by adding something and then renaming it? You didn't start from the beginning if you wanted us to start a new process. You're just doing
Okay,
magic. I beg.
okay, okay, okay. Thanks for that. So in regards to starting, is it starting from a new process? So I'm going to come here. Under this, Sorry, give me a few minutes. Just a few minutes. I'm coming. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So under this, so I'll go over the process again. So the sample one that I did, this first one, maybe I'll even delete the previous event out. So we do from scratch. So the first one which I showed was a sample event stream. A sample event stream in the sense of using, if you want to learn, I'm just going to delete the previous one. So if you want to learn how to create an event stream and you don't want to learn from scratch, you probably just want to use a sample, you can use the sample process. But what I'll do it right now, I'm going to click on new item under the same fabric, new item, and I'm going to check for event stream. So come to event stream. I will give it a name. I'm calling it new. Call it new stream, new flow. I'll just call it new flow. So it's not the same name. I'm going to click on create. Now, so when I create an event stream, so it's loading. So I'll try to take it a lot slower this time. When I create an event stream, an event stream, it asks for three things. Can you see these three things right now? It asks for where is my data coming from, which is a source. It asks for a source. Where is my data coming from? Is it coming from an external source? Is it coming from sample data, which is what Microsoft provided? Maybe you're using one of the sample data, which is what I clicked on initially. Or is it coming from a custom endpoint? A custom endpoint is so for this demo, the Power Automate flow that we have, the Power Automate app that we have, that's your custom endpoints. So it's asking, where is your data coming from? Is it an external source, which is, if I click on external source, we can see the various external source we have. We have Azure Event Hub, Azure IoT Hub, OneLake, and these options. We have it under here. If I click on new, you can see all the external sources that we have here. But you wouldn't see Power Automate as part of the sources. You can see Postgres, ODB, and the rest. So I said for us to do Power Automate, you can click on custom endpoints. I just did it differently from the sample. I edited the sample, but I'll do it from scratch now, and I'll click on use custom endpoint. So under this custom endpoint, I just need to give the endpoint a name, and I called it Power Automate app. I call this Power Automate app. The moment I give it a name, I can click on add. Now, when I click on add, we can see this same process that we have before, right? You have the app, the flow, and we have where I want to load the data to. For you to be able to edit this app, you have to first publish it. You have to click on publish, for instance. So once I click on publish, it's committing the topology and I've successfully published the whole process. Now, once I've published this process, how can I load data into this custom endpoints? I'm sure that's the question you may want to know. This third step shows you the data you brought in. Is the data showing, and it shows you the data inside. This step in the middle. But if I want to edit the data that is coming into the app, I have to See this one. I won't click on this one. I have to click on this Power Automate app. And under this Power Automate app, for me to connect it with Power Automate, I have to provide some of these credentials with the Power Automate app. I don't know if you got my explanation now.
Yes. Thank you.
It's a lot clearer now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And please, if you have, so this is done for you guys, especially. So anybody, if you are not getting, if I'm going too fast or not, please call me out. I don't mind going back so that to ensure we're all on the same page. Thank you. So I'm going to go to Power Automate. Now, Power Automate, I don't want to go with the assumption that we've all created Power Automate before, but this is the Power Automate interface. If you sign in with the account you signed in for your Microsoft Fabric, if you have a Office 365 E5 account or so, you most likely have access to Power Automate as well. So the account you use to sign up for your Microsoft Fabric, you can use it. You can sign into that account. It will be your work or school account. So you can use it to sign into Power Automate. So if you go to Power Automate here, you can click on Start for free. You can click on Sign in. So that Start for free you did for Microsoft Fabric. If you created that, you can just click on Sign in. Now, this is Microsoft Power Automate. So what are the things you can? Now, the very first thing I'll tell people for Power Automate, looking at my time, hoping we cover everything. We can't, but don't worry, wherever we stop, we'll continue from there doing the next couple of videos. So right now, this is Power Automate. For you to learn Power Automate, if you've not used Power Automate before, on the home tab, the very first thing you have is learning for every level. So if you're a beginner, if you see this section shows things you can learn as a beginner, you can click on them. If you are intermediate, you can click on them. If you are advanced, you can click on those things as well for you to learn in each of those level, beginner, advanced in Power Automate. And you can always use Microsoft Learn to learn as well. If you come to learn proper, it will take you to Microsoft Learn links on Power Automate. So you can learn what you want to know on Power Automate. So you have various links for you to learn. If you want to create automated flows, scheduled flows, which I'll talk about them, you can learn that. If you even want to, what is Power Automate? It gives you a documentation where you can read about Power Automate, types of flows you can create, desktop app. And on the CDHQ channel, we have a video already on Power Automate 101. So if you can, please watch through the video, Power Automate 101, so you can just learn how to create your first automation and something you can test out and play around with on your free time. So this is Power Automate. So I said the Learn tab, you can learn more about Power Automate, the templates, my flows, my approvals. So there are things called templates. If you've not created an app before, an automation before, like I said, what you use Power Automate to do is to automate things that you do on a routine basis. So under templates, you can see various things that people do on a routine basis that people have already created the process for you. All you just need to do is click on the process and you start working on the process. You just need to connect your profile to it and you start working with the process. So template is a good place to start so that you can know what is possible, what you can do. If there's a flow you want to build, maybe instead of building it from scratch, you can use a template to go ahead to build it as well. Now, my flows shows you all the flows you have in your Power Automate environment as well. So it shows you all the flows you have. Then there's a section called Approvals, Solutions, Process Mining, Desktop Flows. I won't be talking about this section for the case of this demo because we're just going to be creating a simple flow. but it also shows us that there are a lot of things we can cover in this session, and it's only based on what we want to learn. And I'll be sharing another form maybe later today to know what we want to learn, so that our next couple of events will be tailored towards what we want to learn as well. So under my flows, you can see the different flows you have, and you can create a new flow from scratch. You can create a new flow from scratch. Now I'm going to be creating a new flow, and under this new flow, basically, I'll say they are basically um there are basically two types of flows that we need to know in Power Automate. We have cloud flows and we have something called desktop flow. Cloud flow and desktop flow. So for cloud flows are broken down into three different flows. And what these three different flows is dependent on how they are triggered at the end of the day. So you have something called the automated cloud flow, instant cloud flow, and the scheduled cloud flow. All these are classified under cloud flow. And what this means is that I'll start from instant, because instant is the simplest to quickly understand. Instant, you are saying that maybe based on when you click on a button, or when you click on a button, you want something to happen. When you do A, you want B to happen. You are thinking of a instant cloud flow. It's a type of flow where you have control of the outcome of, you have the control of the event that is going on in your data. So for example, if I say, oh, maybe when I press submit on this particular application, I want this to happen, or when I press I want this to happen. That is how instant cloud flow is. Scheduled cloud flow, on the other hand, you're saying maybe when at 3 o'clock every morning, at 4 o'clock every afternoon, or every evening, you want this flow to run. That is when you use a scheduled cloud flow. Or every week, every 2 months, you want this to happen, you use a scheduled cloud flow. Automated cloud flow, this is kind of based on an event that happens. So maybe when somebody sends you a particular mail, when somebody fills a particular form, you want something to happen. Maybe you want to respond to the person immediately. That is an automated cloud flow, when an event triggers your flow from working. Now, desktop flows is talking of something called RPA. We are not covering that in today's session. RPA is talking about robotic process automation. So if you've used Excel very well and you've done things like VBA macro, what Power Automate Desktop does is it works similar to that a bit, but what it does is that it's based on things that happen on your system itself, your laptop, your day-to-day laptop activities. You can schedule flows to maybe download a document on your laptop, move a document from your laptop to somewhere else, and things like that. You can use desktop flows, or even use desktop flows to work on a particular application, to type some documents. You can use desktop flows to do that, and that's why it's considered RPA, robotic process automation, to some extent. Now, describe to design it. This is just using Copilot to build your flows. Process mining, if you want to see the number of repetitive tasks you do on a day-to-day basis, and you've tracked them, maybe you've written them in an Excel document, you've tracked all the tasks you do on a day-to-day basis, and you want to know which one you can most likely automate or not, you can click on process mining to see the output of that. I'm just explaining the general concept. I said we have a Power Automate 101 video, so you can properly learn a bit on that. And if you want to even learn more on Power Automate, you can just let us know on the group as well. So the flow that we'll be creating today is something very, very basic, one of the most basic flows anybody will create, which is going to be a automated cloud flow. Why is it an automated cloud flow? When somebody fills a form, I want to send the data to our event hub, which is what we created in Microsoft Fabric, right? So that's why it's going to be a very, very simple flow. So I'm going to call this events hub flow. And under this, I have something called choose a trigger. A trigger is what kickstarts your flow in any automation. When you think of trigger, just see your trigger as what is starting your Power Automate flow. And the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to select when a new response is submitted. That is, you have various triggers in Power Automate. There are different events that you can, maybe when somebody fills a SharePoint item, when somebody uploads a file to your OneDrive, when a task is assigned to you. These are various events you can trigger your flow based on. You can play around them as well. But the one I'm using for this demo is when somebody submits a form. So maybe you send a form to people and somebody submits it. That's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to click on create. I'm going to click on create. Okay, so I'm going to click on create. Also just checking time to be sure we're on track as well. So right now, when I click on create, I can see when a new response is submitted. So this shows me the Power Automate interface. I'm just going to zoom in so that we can see the very, very well. So for every single flow you have in Power Automate, you have something called a trigger. A trigger is what kickstarts your flow or your automation. You just see it like, I don't want to use a gun, but basically in your typical weapon as well, you have something that triggers when you click on the trigger, you want something to happen. You want the bullet to be fired also. So that in that instance, you're thinking of a trigger. A trigger is what kickstarts your automation. And in this instance, we have when a new response is submitted. After your trigger, you have an action. What should happen after your flow is triggered? Maybe you send an email. Maybe you send the data to Event Hub. That is an action point to take. So for this trigger, now that we set when a new response is submitted, all we need to do is configure this trigger. I'm going to click on this. Now, right now, I want us to notice, right now, you can see it is connected to my email address. For you, if you've not, most likely you've not connected before, it will ask you to sign in. All you just need to do is sign in to the email address of the form you've created before. Maybe if your form is on whatever email, you need to sign into that email, and that will create a connector. A connector is just like the communication between your Microsoft Forms and your Power Automate. It's like like the API between the two of them that sends the information of, oh, Microsoft Form, this is my information of this particular user. That's what your connector is. So you have to sign in if you've not signed in before. And what I'm going to do is, after I've selected connector, so if I want to change, I just need to click on change connection. I just want to show you guys, if you guys are doing it from scratch, you click on add new and you'll be able to sign in. So, but I don't need to do that. Under pick a form, I can select the form I want to pick. For this demo, I've created a simple form. I called it event stream demo, a very simple form, which is here. So this is the name of the form, event stream demo. So just to showcase the form a bit. So this is the form, the name, email address, and the how likely are you to recommend us to a friend. So that's what the form is about. So it's just a simple form that contains 3 fields. So under this Under these forms, I'll go back to my flow. So the next thing is when somebody submits a form, I want to get what the person submitted. So there's an action called get response details. And it's important to note that you can use Copilot to even help you generate this flow. If you just type what you want to do, Copilot will help to generate it a bit on what you want to do. What this get response details is doing is this is an action. So the first step is your trigger, which is when a new response is submitted. This get response details is the action. What do you want to happen when a new form is submitted? And what I will do for this is I'm going to select the form ID, which is event stream demo. And I want to get the response from this when a new response is submitted. And in this section, I need to click on something called dynamic content. So I said there's a video on Power Automate 101 on the YouTube channel as well. So if you need to know some of these things, it's explained there, but I will explain it again. What your dynamic content is basically like the output of a previous trigger and an action. So what do I mean in layman term? When a new response is submitted, this produces one output, which is the response ID. It tells us who responded. Who responded. Under this dynamic content, if I click on it, I can fill this information with the information gotten from this first step, which is when a new response is submitted. And I'm going to click on response ID. So it gets me the response ID of when a new form is submitted. So it gets me the response ID from that. Now, the moment I've done this, I'm almost done with my flow. All I just need to do now is send this information to Event Hub. And for this, I'm going to type Event Hub. So under Event Hub, I have two actions I can take. I can do send one or more events, or I can just do send events. Send events is what I want to do. I want to send a new event to Event Hubs. And under these events, what I'll just need to do is I need to add a new connection. I had one before, but I'm not using that. I'm going to add a new connection so we can see how we do it. Under this connection name, I'll go back to my Microsoft Fabric. I'll go back to my Microsoft Fabric. Now, yeah, I'm going to supply it with some of the details. I'll just call this name. I can give it any name I want. I'll call it event flow. Then under this connection string, this is the important part. I'll come here to my Microsoft Fabric. In this Power Automate app, under the SAS key authentication, I can just open this and I can copy the connection string. I can copy the connection string in this section, the connection string primary key, and I'll go back to my Power Automate. I can just come here and paste the information here and click on create new. This will create a new connection for my Event Hub. Now, the moment I've done that, I can either search this. I may get an error now. Yes. So it cannot. What this means is it cannot directly see the name of the event that I've kept there. So what I can do for this is instead of doing this, I can enter the name directly. So I'll just click on enter custom value. And under the custom value, I'm going to copy the Event Hub name. that we have in this Power Automate app. Come here and paste the name here. So the moment
Sorry,
I've done,
sorry.
okay, go ahead.
Apologies. Could you go back a bit? This event hub name, where exactly did you get it from?
The event hub name is in the Microsoft Fabric, the Power Automate app. So under the SAS key token, you see the event hub name. Just
I've seen
copy
it now.
this. Okay. Hope that's clear. Thanks for calling me back. So the moment I've done that, I can click on show all advanced parameter. And under this, all I need to provide is this content. So for this content, I can either do dynamic content. Let me see, but this content is best is in a JSON format. What you could do, if you don't know how to write JSON itself, you can always go to GBT to tell you the form data. Okay, let me just show you what you can do. For example, let me just open my GBT by in the area of AI. So AI has come to make life a lot easier. And I've already done this so that I can show you guys how we can do this as well. So let me come here. So just under your GBT, see the prompt I said, convert a form data, name, email, and score to a JSON. And it will give you the JSON that you need to supply for your data. So this is the name, the email, and the score data. So we're going to try this JSON right now. So I'm just going to copy the first one, for example. Copy the first one, come to this edit, and I'm going to paste it here. Now, what I will do differently is under this name, instead of having this John Doe hard coded, I'm going to change this and I'm going to use dynamic content, which is, if you remember, what did I say dynamic content is the output of a previous action or trigger. That's what your dynamic content is. So the output of on this get response details will provide these four outputs: your email address, the name, the details from the form, the responder's email, and the submission time. If I want to add any of the output of this get response detail, I just need to click on dynamic content and it will provide me with the output of whatever the person had filled. So under name, I can just select this and maybe I'll select this as the name. Email, click on this and click on select email address. Score, I'll just change this to how likely are you to recommend us. Yes, so I'm just going to change this to this. And the moment I've done this, now it's important to note at the first trial, it may ask you to use a trial account. You're not I'm not seeing the error now because I'm using a premium account right now. I'm using the premium trial, but for you, all you just need to do is activate the premium trial if you are testing it out in the first place, and I think you should be good. The activating the premium trial is free. You don't have to pay for anything, and you don't have to put any card. So I'm just going to click on save. I'm just going to click on save. Now, the moment I've saved the flow, how can I test the flow? I can either go back. So this is the moment of truth. So let's just pray all is working well. Flow is ready to go. Now, what I will do is this simple form that I've created. Let me test if the flow is working correctly. I'm just going to give it a name, Joseph at gmail.com or so. And I'm just going to give the score as maybe 10. and I'm going to click on submit. Now, the moment I do this, let me see if my flow is working as it should. This is showing succeeded. Showing succeeded. So right now, I'm going to check Microsoft Fabric to see if that data was actually sent to my event hub. So you could just do, let me just do a refresh. So can you see that data had been added to my event hub? Joseph at gmail.com. This is my event partition, my event UTC. So each time I fill in new record is going to be added to this my event hub data which I have here. And if I want to see, maybe I want to see the average score of everybody here. What I'll just do is I'm going to add a destination, and I want us to see the final output at the end of the day. Let me just add a event house. So remember, like I said, the whole process is recorded. And if you are struggling with anything, absolutely anything, please, anything, just feel free to reach out to me on the WhatsApp group and just let me know if you are able to achieve the same thing or if you need further explanation. So right now, I'm going to give it destination name. I'll call it event automate something. The moment I do that, I need to select a workspace. I'll just select Fabric workspace. Type to select a event house. Let me see. Do I already have one event house? Let me see. Event house. Let me see if it creates one for me. If not, I have to go and create all of that. Yeah. So I need to create all this component before I use this event out. But let me use the direct ingestion. Okay. So I actually need to select. I actually need to create all of this before I load it to Event House. Or I could load it directly into a lake house at the end of the day. Just looking for which will be easy. I don't want to do all this setup. Lake house. And the lake house at the end of the day, we house my data. So I'll just quickly create an event house so that we will be able to see the output of the data analysis. So I can create a dashboard at the end of the day. But so far that is the whole process we will need to do our transformation. So the moment I create under new item, I create a event house, I create a KQL database, I should be good to. I'll just create a event house and I'll call it. Just quickly create the event house and I'll call this new event. So create new event house. And under this event house, I can add a new, it will create a new KQL database for me, which is new event. So this is the KQL database. So let's go back to this, to the flow. So So don't worry, just we'll be wrapping up in next 5 minutes. So thank you so far for staying tuned as well. And I'm free to answer any question at the end of the day. So let's see. So I'm just going to come here. I just want to believe it has created that for me. So under this destination, I'm going to select event house. So under destination name, maybe new event or something. Workspace, I'm going to select fabric. That's where I created it. New event, yes, I'm able to select this new event. So under table, I can click on create new. Since it doesn't already have a table there for me, I can create a new table. So let it load. I'll create a new table and I'll call it live demo at the end of the day. And then I'm going to click on done. The moment I click on done, so I'll be able to save this at the end of the day. And the moment I've saved this, so these are data, I can now publish again so that we see the output of our data. So our data is going to come from our Power Automate app it will pass through this. This is where we can see the data that is being processed. And at the end of the day, the data is going to be loaded into this KQL database at the end of the day when the data new information is passed as well. So I think because I've not like loaded in new information, maybe that's why it's not showing now. I if I created this KQL database before, it would have shown as well. But after that is done, I can come and create my dashboard under this KQL, under this new event. I can come and click on real-time dashboard. I can click on real-time dashboard to create my dashboard. But so that we don't spend too much time again, so I'll just be stopping here to take further questions. But that's the whole process for us to create a real-time app. Is it a real-time process with using Power Automate and Microsoft Fabric? And right now, I'll be taking questions if you have any as well.
Okay, good afternoon.
Okay, the
Thank you
data
for
has
the
loaded. Sorry to interrupt.
okay.
Data, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for the whole explanation. So once I want to understand it, once the data is loaded into this, is it going to
Mm-hmm.
get to the lake house?
No, it's not lake house I did. So it's event house. You can do lake house as well. The same process for lake house, event house. The data is going to be passed from here to from
The event
your
house.
to the event house at the end of the day. And from the event house, you can create your dashboard based on the
Okay,
data.
from the okay, is there a data source from Power BI desktop? I mean desktop this time around that links to the event house.
There is data source from Power BI desktop that links
Desktop
to. Okay, can you
event house.
explain the
Like
use
oh,
case in here?
okay, I mean
Yeah.
from the Power BI desktop, you go to get data. There are a lot of data source to get data. So is there
I
event house?
understand. Okay, no, you see KQL database. So I understand your
Okay,
question now. So let me go to Power BI. Uh, Hopefully it opens.
okay. Another thing is this video. Are you going to share it with us or for us to do our normal practice?
Yes, yes, yes. The video will even be uploaded on the YouTube channel. Why is it taking me here? So the video will even be uploaded on the YouTube channel. And right now, that's why I said if you guys have any questions or no, you need any support, that's why the WhatsApp channel was created. So you can drop your WhatsApp as well. And if there's anything more that you would like to learn going forward, you can just let us know on the WhatsApp channel as well. That's good.
Okay, the WhatsApp channel. What's WhatsApp channel? Because I think I
Mm,
have a lot of
WhatsApp group.
channels there.
Yeah, yeah, not on the WhatsApp group.
I don't think I am. And it's possible I'm in the group. I don't know the exact group because I'm in a lot
Yeah.
of groups now. I'm trying to learn a lot.
Okay.
So when it comes to Power
Citizen.
Platform,
Okay, the group is Citizen Developer HQ group. So that's the group. Yeah.
I'm trying to search. I'm not in the group.
Okay.
I'm not in the group. Maybe I'll just. I don't know if I
Okay.
can. How I can get to you so that I can add me to the group.
Okay, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and I'll add you to the group.
Okay, okay, no problem, no problem. So because I would like to try this with my office account, so and with
Mm.
my the office data general, so that I can automate the dashboard that I have already. So I would like to go through the whole video again. That's why I'm asking how I can get the information.
Okay, no
Thank you
problem.
for the class. Thank you for the class. It's really something to learn. It's very important. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you as well. Okay, so I'd like to take response from others as well. So this as well before we call it a day. So this should actually be updated, but I think maybe because I've not refreshed, I've not added in new data. But I don't want us to stay here on the call trying to see that. But like right now, once it's active, the normal process is you're supposed to like create everything for your destination, so it loads directly into it. But as far as your data is showing on that data preview, you shouldn't have an issue. But if you're having issues with it showing, you can just let me know. So right now, I'll be taking any other question before we call it a day, and hope we learned something new today, and hope we enjoyed today's session.
Yes, and a lot of things today actually.
Okay, please go ahead. Delvis, Pascal.
Okay, so just to reiterate,
Okay.
the
Good afternoon, Joseph. Um,
Okay, so I think Pascal was speaking. So I think Pascal was speaking before. I think so. Pascal, please go ahead. So
I
before we
want
move
to
in.
get clarification on where the recording will be sent. Will it also be sent to the WhatsApp, or we have to go to your YouTube channel to
So
access
the
it?
recording will be uploaded on the YouTube channel, but the link will be shared on the WhatsApp.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, Delvis, please go ahead. If Yoma can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. So how was the session?
Left to me, probably if we had used the proper data, it would have made more sense to me. That's my own
Hello,
opinion.
Joseph. I'm not audible.
Yeah, not so audible. I think you're having network issues. Okay, so let me.
So what I will do is to go through the video again, because real time